Hello, welcome everybody. So what I'm going to do just to start with is if you just type in the chat box on your right hand side, I just want to see can everyone hear me. So if you just type in yes or hello or how you doing or something. So is everyone there? So if you just type in yep the words yes, yeah. Brilliant. I think everyone can hear me. How are you doing, Jane? Good to see you're live there. Okay, so I'd like to welcome everybody to my webinar on the 3 secrets to living your passion. And it's going to take about an hour, but I hope you enjoy it because there's a lot of very, very good information on tonight's webinar. So the first thing I want to start with is I want to ask you a question. So what if you could quit your job and start living the life of your dreams? Is that something that would interest you? Or would you love to discover your passion as well as take an opportunity to become better rewarded, both financially and emotionally? Well, guess what? You're in the right place because tonight I'm going to show you the 3 secrets which I've used personally myself and which have been a blueprint for my success. Now, these include how to find out what you do best, 2, a simple way to monetize what you are passionate about, and a little known secret which will allow you to become exponentially successful from living your passion. And here's why you need to know what I know, and why it's going to be so valuable for you to be on this webinar tonight. So the first thing is, I am someone who has had the exact same frustrations as you at one stage. And I'm also someone who was stuck and just didn't know what to do about it. So essentially, I made the wrong decisions. I've wore a t-shirt, I've made the mistakes in my career, and essentially I went through all the frustrations of not growing in my job, not feeling recognized, and not getting rewarded. But I'm also someone who done something about it, even though the answer was right under my nose all the time. Because basically I just love people. I love seeing what made them tick. I love seeing them succeed in what they spent most of their lives doing. And the bottom line was I took action about my own personal circumstances. I did something about it, and from that I haven't looked back since. And now I'm going to give you my blueprint to the exact same thing because I want to see you succeed too. Like, as far as I'm concerned, there's way too many people in the world right now doing stuff that they hate, and I just can't stand it. Like, you only get one shot at this, and yet there's so many people out there who just continually procrastinate. So I want you to imagine for a moment that your life was like this. You hop out of bed every morning to do something you love doing. You actually get rewarded for it, both financially and emotionally. And you start to build a great career and a great future for yourself and those closest to you, while at the same time getting to see the world. And how would that feel? Like, you can imagine that can feel fantastic, and you become really fulfilled from doing that. But here's what stands between where you are now and where you want to be. You may not have the first idea on how you can find work that makes you happy. Or maybe you don't know how to utilize the internet to build a business around your passion. Or maybe you don't know how to deal with finances even when quitting your job and starting something new. Well, the good news is I'm going to show you all the answers tonight. So let me now reveal how to find out what you do best. So I'm going to show you how to find out what you do best by getting to know you. Because essentially, if you don't know you, or if you don't know what you're looking for, well, look, you're never going to find it. So this step is dedicated to helping you discover who you are and finding out what you are an expert at. Now, you may not find the answer to this straight away. Instead, what you may find is that you have to go on a real journey with yourself to help you get to where you want to go. And this comes from learning, experimenting, and looking at all the experiences you've had over your complete lifetime. And sometimes your best ideas come from when you're out doing something you enjoy doing, or when you're around people that inspire you, or even when you're listening to music. Like essentially the purpose of this step is me providing you with triggers that are going to get you thinking, and even to ask you the hard questions. But what I want you to understand is that this may not be solved by sitting in front of the computer, even on the webinar tonight, but it might involve thinking about it on a more deeper basis. And I want you not to give up on this step either, because this is your future, and it's about going on a voyage of self-discovery rather than answering it off the tip of your tongue. And the main aim is to help you find out what you love doing and what you're good at. And I suppose here's some of the trigger questions now that I'm going to ask you that will hopefully get you started on that voyage. And the purpose of what I'm going to go through right now is to get you immediately thinking about these things and give you some ideas and areas of inspiration. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what are you good at? So everyone in the world right now has some skills or talent and something that they are good at. Now, it might not trigger with you straight away, but you might have shown talent back in school or even when you were younger. Like, have you been a good teacher or a friend or a sports player or even a builder? Or have you been good at connecting people, selling, or even drawing pictures? I want you to think about this, because there's so many areas and things that you're good at that you don't even give yourself respect for. Like, trust me, there are plenty of things out there. And sometimes we have to think back to when we were free, when we were involved in hobbies. And a lot of time that occurs actually when we were younger and we didn't have anything holding us back. So there's something, I suppose, from an initial perspective to think about and what you were good at. Next question I have for you is, what excites you? Like, have you ever come home excited that you're about to tell someone important to you something great that has just happened to you? Like, it's actually a fantastic feeling. Or have you ever been chirping away at yourself after something exciting that has just happened to you? Like, everyone has had this feeling at some stage, and it's just remember what that feeling is about. So what was that thing that got you excited before? Like, have you had any of them trigger moments before? Was it even related to your job? Or was it outside of work? Or was it related to a hobby? Or something you did for a family member or a friend? Or did you even pay it forward? Like, there are plenty of things out there that excite us. And once again, it's about thinking back to when these great things happened to us in the past. The next question I have for you is, what do you read about? Like, if you were to turn on the internet right now, like, what would you look at? Like, what do you spend the first 10 minutes looking at every single time you hop on the internet? Or if you're at the airport and you need a magazine to read, what would you pick? Or even if you go into the bookstore like this lady here, like, what would you look for? What's the first thing you'd actually read? Would it be an autobiography? Would it be a self-help book? Would it be a cooking book? Or even what blogs do you follow? Like, if you go on the internet now, like, is there any blogs that you religiously follow? Like, essentially, there's a truck full of information that can be answered by this question. And another trigger question that I always really ask people is, what have you secretly dreamed of? Like, is there anything you've ever dreamed of doing? And it may not be in recent times that you've done this, but at some stage you've dreamed about doing something. And I want to know what that something has been about. And I want you to think about these things, I suppose, no matter how unrealistic they've been. Okay? Because this is all about taking the time to invest in you. Like, if you could dedicate a half an hour to this, and I suppose then a couple of questions that I've just shown you, like, what would it do to your life? Would it take you down a whole new path in life? Or would it even send you off on an exciting journey around the world? But you won't know, essentially, unless you do it. But if you do this, I promise you can get to the stage where you can actually do more analysis and you can go further on this. And that's what I like to call the self-evaluation and self-experiment for that one thing. Now, if there's one thing that comes to your mind while I'm talking to you regarding what you're passionate about, this process here is a great little tool that you should complete, and it's called the self-evaluation and self-experiment tool. So the main triggers here are to get you thinking further about this one thing that you're initially thinking of right now. So things you could do to explore this one thing further, like include maybe making a list of people that you could talk about to talk about in relation to that one thing that excites you, or even making a list of questions that you were curious about, or making a list of items that you think you may need to do in order to get into that field, or maybe make a list of blogs that you could possibly look at in order to understand a little bit more. Like, I guarantee you, no matter how diverse this one thing from your list is, there's someone talking about it on the internet. And the main thing is learning more about yourself and more about your passion. And it's important to experiment with these passions so you can see what other people are doing with it already. And there are many, many examples out there. I suppose some of the other important things to think about is, like, can you go and talk to people that you have in your list, or can you email them, or even can you shadow them? Like, that's actually a great way for free to go in and just shadow someone and just see if you actually like that area or you like that piece of work, and see can you learn something from it. Like, if it's something you're passionate about, can you even get into a free speaking event in your city, or even get out of your comfort zone, talk about it, and get people's feedback? Like, essentially, you have to start to do the one thing that you've chosen. And one good tip that I always give to people is to make it public whatever way you can, as it will get people's feedback and it will give you exposure and more good feelings about doing it. And if that feeling remains, what I always encourage people to do then is to keep driving on. And if not, look, at least you had a neck to give it a shot. And you can always repeat the process again, because I promise you, there is something else out there. And this is the process of constantly testing, helping, refining, and repeating this whole process. And essentially, it's a journey of life and being happy as you go along that journey. Another big thing that I focus on with people is I always encourage them to get out of their comfort zone. And trust me, this is the part where people find the hardest thing in the world. And what they find is the biggest obstacle is the actual fear of failure. Like, they often ask themselves, what if this doesn't work? Like, they do the easy parts, and when it comes to making the big call, really stepping up, they back off, and commonly they lose the neck for the challenge. Like, and even here's a great little statistic for you. Like, does anyone know what the fourth biggest fear is in the world? Like, I'm just actually going to get people to type that in now and see, does anyone know? Oh no. Karina, how are you going? Is your man there? Yeah, could you put her on to me for a second? Thank you, Karina. Uh, can you hear me? But you can't see the slides. Yeah. Could you see the slides? No. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just one second now. Just see this. Sorry about that. This is the great thing about testing it. Um. What? Yeah, because I had a presentation mode on my side. Right. But really, okay. Just one second there now. I might have to. This is a good way to. find out. Yeah, sorry, just I'll plug out the earphone for a second. Sorry about this. Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what I'm doing. I'm tapping the keypad to change slides. Yeah, so that was probably it. I'll use my mouse in future. Yeah. 1 second now. Start screen share. This is really strange. So you see that on my screen right now? Really? Yeah. Just there. Okay, this is a great start. That's a strange thing here because I had a presentation on full screen on mine, but I have yeah, 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 yeah. See that? All right, yeah. I can just change that by yeah, change that. Yeah, yeah. So I see what you sent me there now. So yeah, you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing right now. Don't know how to put that on one screen presentation. When I do, that's what I was doing. I actually lose your background chat because my PowerPoint comes over it, and I actually just cancel it. I just actually press save on them, just to see, and then I see on your comments. Yeah, I'm not on a Mac, no, I'm on a PC or a Windows. I tell you what, look, I think I need to figure it out myself, I think, and just see can I get right in my end. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So top left hand corner, second from the left. Yeah, it just brings up the whole thing. So it basically puts the whole, yeah, covers my full screen and showing me chat in your background. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to postpone this. I'm going to have to figure it out in my end here. Let's go. Let's go. I'm sorry for taking up the time. So. Yeah. Well, what I figured out from the start, I looked at a lot of videos here, and there's actually more videos you need to look at that I didn't even see about webinars and all this. Actually, there's a lot of training in this, from what I can gather in the tutorials there. So basically, I went through the tutorials last week, step by step, to actually make this webinar available for tonight. But then there's actually more things to learn about, like exactly what we're doing now, about how to manage your PowerPoints and all. And I looked at some this evening. I thought I had it from that, but I obviously didn't catch it together too well. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think even for like say the 5 or 10 minutes, like I could, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, something like that, you know. That could have been the way it was going there. Yeah, that's fair enough. No, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sit down and look at some more videos on figure it out. And I'll just give you a buzz at some stage. We'll test it and look. At least between us testing it, it'll work for both of us then. Yeah, you know. Yeah, cool, cool. And Brett asked him the webinar was unreal. Unbelievable, Brett. Out of this world. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the wrong perception. Yeah, no. I got to this point, so we'll keep moving forward anyway.